The Bamba squad took a pretty big step back in 2020 after that historic 2019. What are we going to see from this lineup in 2021? What's up? This is Tom Froming from twinsdaily.com. Let's talk about a little season preview on the lineup here. If you missed the pitching section, I'll put a link up in a card. Go check that out. We're talking lineup today. I'm going to talk about the spring training. I'm going to talk about the upside, some positives that I see, and then the downside, some potential things to worry about. And then we're going to get into the projections as well. So spring takeaways, we don't want to invest too much in spring training, especially with established players. But you'd rather have guys doing well in spring training than not. And the Twins entered Sunday with the worst OPS in baseball as a team. Not just a bad performance from the lineup, the worst OPS in baseball. And kind of the poster boy for it. When you have that, a lot of guys aren't playing well. A lot of guys aren't hitting. But to focus on one guy, it's going to be Max Kepler. He 3 for 39 with 10 strikeouts, 0 walks. 0 of those 3 hits were extra base hits. So 3 for 39 with 3 singles, no walks, 10 strikeouts. You wouldn't worry as much. You could kind of throw this out if Max was coming off a great 2020, but he took a step back from his 2019 and kind of had some contact-related issues in terms of, these guys got a horrible BABIP. So to have, him have a bad spring, I don't think we can just throw this away. He's not this bad, of course. He might have been working on some stuff. Actually, I would assume he's been working on some stuff. That's what guys like him do in spring training. But that's not encouraging. If you kind of, on the flip side, something I've been encouraged by is just seeing Donaldson out there healthy and hitting. He's had like an 800 OPS, a couple of home runs, nothing too crazy, but I think he is such a difference maker for this team that just seeing him around, hearing them talk about how he's even changed the way he's running to try to avoid those calf injuries going forward. Just very encouraged to hear all that from him and just to see him out there. Golden boy this summer with his blonde hair hitting. So let's talk about the upside of this lineup. Move on from spring training, turn the focus to moving into the year. And there are some guys in the minor league system coming up who I think could provide some upside, but it's kind of weird to talk about this lineup. All these guys are either, there's a bunch of older guys on this team now. There's also a bunch of guys in their late 20s, but I see a lot of upside in this lineup. I see because it's bounce back potential. So many guys had career years in 2019 and then took a step back last year. And I think their true potential is more toward 2019 than what we saw last year. Think about how many guys would you say take their 2020 performance, on a per game basis, would you take that over what you think they might be? Not that many. Nelson Cruz probably, maybe Luis Ariz, maybe Buxton, although his on-base percentage wasn't very good. But like Mitch Garver, Miguel Sano, Jorge Polanco, Josh Donaldson, you would take what's to come over what was last year for those guys. Max Kepler as well, I would at least. And so you could see a lot of these guys having better seasons than they did last year. It's kind of remarkable in a way that the Twins won the division last year, despite all those guys taking a step back. So bounce backs, I could see a lot of these guys having great years again. That's the upside to me. These are already guys that have shown that they can be elite. Mitch Garver was a silver slugger in 2019. And a lot of other guys had great years that year. That's maybe the downside. That's the scary part. Was 2019, was that a mirage? Was that the best we're ever going to see these guys collectively? It was in 2019. And, even if that doesn't happen, there's a lot of injury concern among this lineup. I absolutely adore this team's depth across the board, pitching and lineup. The depth, the bench that the Twins are going to have to be able to roll with. Guys like Ryan Jeffers, that is an awesome number 2 catcher in my mind. Obviously, Luis Ariz is the 10th man right now coming off your bench. Just incredible. I'm really high on Brent Rooker. And then, going back to the upside thing, Alex Kirilloff's going to be on the Twins for a good chunk of the season. That guy is going to hit. Trevor Larnach might be ready by the end of the year as well. It's all about finding an opportunity for him. But on the downside, this is an injury-prone team. There's no getting around it, and injuries aren't always at the fault of the player getting injured. But Josh Donaldson, very injury-prone, and Andrelton Simmons has been an injury-prone guy. Byron Buxton's been injury-prone. Mitch Garver's had concussion issues now. That's always kind of scary for anybody, but especially a catcher. And then you throw in, Nelson Cruz is going to be 41 in June. He's been very healthy. He, obviously incredible at taking care of his body and takes it incredibly serious, very committed. And Rocco Baldelli has a knack for getting the most out of guys, but guy's going to be 41 in June. Josh Donaldson's already 35, and he's playing in the infield every day. With those Cavs, man, you could see a disaster, of injuries and guys, not snapping back to that 2019. That being said, I still think this team's floor is incredibly high because even when you go through those scenarios, there are those guys like Arias waiting the wings, Jeffers, Kirilloff, Larnach, Rooker, even Kyle Garlick now randomly having a great spring. La Tortuga is a guy who can come in and play a lot of places. So it would take a lot to completely sink this team out of contention altogether. But it's not that hard to find a scenario in which this team doesn't make it hit its potential because of all of these potential issues. And, that's true of every team. We're already seeing it with the White Sox missing Eloy Jimenez. We can't turn the injury setting off. This isn't a video game. So that's that. Let's go into the projections. All right, so here we are at Fangraphs checking out their WAR projections. As you can see here, the Twins on a kind of across-the-board team level. And if we just show their batting, they are 5th, looks like. In the American League, they're behind the Astros, Yankees, and Blue Jays. There are the Twins, very securely above the White Sox now, especially now that Eloy Jimenez is out. But, again, this is projected to be one of the best teams in baseball. And, I'm showing these just to take sort of, any homerism or any kind of, these are just hard numbers, hard projections. The projection systems don't have, biases. So that's a good way to look at it. And you might say, hey, in the downsides, you didn't even bring up left field. Eddie Rosario's gone. I like the guys that they have, the options that they have. But, there is a possibility that J.K., Brent Rook, or even Alex Kirilloff, anybody else, doesn't take that job and run with it. Luis Arias might play there. That potential is certainly there, but, take a look. The projection systems even don't hate the Twins' left field situation. Yeah, it's obviously their lowest projected WAR total for the positions, and, I think that would have been really easy to predict. But still, not bad at all, kind of in the middle of the pack. In terms of that. So they certainly think like a Jake Cave, Brent Rooker platoon can work. I think so too. It's not going to be the strength of the team, that position, obviously, but I'm not too concerned about that area. So, and this I think is a nice reflection of the Twins' depth as well, because that does factor in. They do kind of split up plate appearances and they factor in playing time. That's the projections. That's where they have the Twins again as a team. Nice rating. Everything else, I'm very comfortable with this club. I think they've got reserves. The depth is incredible. Even though I talked about those downsides of the guys, injury-prone guys, combined with some older players. I'm a worrier. I'm a worrier. So the worst case scenario. Every team has a worst case scenario, and I think the Twins' worst case scenario looks a lot better than almost any other team out there. So should be a great year. Should be a lot of fun to watch this team. Should see them. I expect them to be better than they were last year in terms of offense. So, and then if the pitching staff can hold, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's it. Thanks for checking this out. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for Twins Talk here on YouTube. Let me know what you feel. Who do you think is going to be the Twins MVP? That's kind of my favorite question of the offseason right now. A lot of guys. I feel like there's a ton of candidates. Let me know who your MVP is going to be. And thanks for checking this out. We're going to talk again soon. Again, this has been Tom.